Today we're talking all about wall anchors. Those little pieces of plastic that decide whether or not your picture or your shelf stays up or whether or not it falls down at 3 a.m. wakes you up. Now, a lot of people think that because you have a lot of different options at a hardware store, that means you've got to buy all these different anchors for different things, and that's just simply not true. And after 15 years of hanging everything from picture frames to cabinets, I've learned that most wall anchors are junk, and honestly, there's only about 2 that I actually trust. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what those 2 are. Here's the deal. Drywall on its own is not very strong. It's basically just pressed chalk wrapped in some paper. And so if you've ever tried to take a screw and drill a screw into something or drive a nail into only the drywall, not if you hit a stud, it might kind of hold something light for a little while, but eventually it's probably going to work itself loose, wall or loose, and then whatever it is going to hit the floor. And so that's why we got to have anchors in the first place. And so today, instead of testing 10 different drywall anchors that I think are kind of junk, I'm just going to go ahead and cut through the noise, and I'm going to share 2 of my favorites with you. This is the Snaptoggle, and this is the white plastic self-drilling drywall anchor. So first up is this plastic self-drilling drywall anchor. This thing is, I would say, probably it does 90% of what I need it to do for anything around the house. Light to medium duty, because most of the time that's what I'm doing. The beauty of these is that not only do we simply have this, the size and the strength of this, but it's threaded. So we're going to take a screwdriver, we're going to drive this into the drywall, and again, this thing will kind of thread itself into the drywall as it goes. And then once it's in all the way, then we'll take our screw and we'll screw this in. And then as we screw this screw in, it works similar to a lot of other anchors, but it's going to go ahead and open up this backside to prevent that from pulling out. So now, not only do we have the backside that has spread open to prevent it from falling and coming loose, but then we also have these threads from the plastic anchor itself that are also in the drywall. And once you have the 2 of those combined, you have a very, very solid connection. So if you've ever found yourself in a place where you bought a cheap shelf or something, and maybe it's not even a cheap shelf, but most of the time they're going to come with a hammer-in style anchor that honestly is a very Mickey Mouse cheap garbage anchor. I would just toss them in the trash. They're not worth your time, and honestly, these are just far superior. One thing to keep in mind though, when it comes to these drywall anchors that are plastic like this, you don't want to overscrew this plastic part into the drywall. Once you get it flushed up, be sure and stop. Otherwise, you're just going to tear up your drywall. You're going to make a big hole, and then it's going to lose a lot of its strength. But by and large, once again, this is going to cover 90% of the jobs that you're going to do. And you're going to hang a picture. This is going to work. A shelf. This is going to work. Are you going to hang a big shelf? I've got another answer for you if you've got a big shelf or a cabinet, and we're going back to this, which is what? The Snaptoggle. Anything that you need to do that is heavy duty, this guy has got your back. And it's a lot like just a regular toggle bolt, but in my opinion, it's just simply better and it's far superior. This thing is designed to where if you see here, this one is designed for a 1/4-20 bolt. So it says right here on this metal piece, and any kind of a 1/4-20 bolt is going to work for that. And that's why I love this, is that you can buy these in different sizes. 1/4-20 just happens to be the one that I tend to gravitate to, because most of the time when I'm using this, I need something pretty heavy duty. Let's talk about downside real quick. You gotta drill a hole into your drywall big enough that this piece is going to fit into. So that is a little bit of a negative, because it's a pretty good size hole when you do that. But you're probably holding something that you kind of care about, so that's okay. For instance, I was using this on a TV here a while back that I was trying to hang up, and we had one of the TV centered in the room on the wall, but the problem is that the studs didn't all line up to where I could hit a stud on the far right side. In comes the Snaptoggle and solves that problem, because this is extremely, extremely strong. So I drill a big hole through the drywall. Once you do that, you're going to push this through, and then you're able to, on each side here, I can grab these 2 little edges of it, and I can turn this so that I can work it while it's behind the drywall, and then I pull it back towards myself like this. And then once I do that, I can go ahead and I can take this Snaptoggle and I bring this all the way down to wherever I need it to go. And then once I've done that and I tighten this thing down flush against the drywall, now I'm ready to take a bolt and I can run it through, and it's going to thread into the metal piece on the back side of the Snaptoggle. That's what makes these so fantastic, is that bolt is not screwing into any kind of plastic. It's screwing into a piece of metal on the back side of the drywall that sucks it up on the back side and makes it extremely, extremely strong. The only way that this thing is going to fail is that your drywall actually has to fail. So why not use any of the other styles that are available that are out there? Well, I just don't find that I need them. I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't have any in my kit over here, but honestly, that kit, what I find, these are the two that I go to every time. And there are gonna be a few things where maybe they're not gonna work, right? Like if I need to hang something into a concrete cinder block wall, yeah, I'm gonna use a hammer-in style. I'm gonna make sure I get a good one. But that's kind of the exception, honestly. Because again, most of the time, this is covering pretty much everything that I need to do. Now, a couple of quick pro tips here. Just remember that honestly, anchors are kind of plan B. You really want to hit a stud anytime that you can. It's just honestly far superior. Another thing to remember is to match the right screw length to the job that you're performing or the job that you're doing. If you get a screw that's too short, it's not going to reach, or it's not going to have enough threads in there. If you get it too long, you might punch through on the backside and have a whole different problem. So the bottom line is, you don't need a whole bucket full of anchors for a bunch of different projects. These two right here are going to do most everything that you're going to need to do around your house. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are some anchors that you love? Do you agree, disagree? Do you love the plastic screw-in style? Do you hate them? Have you ever used these Snaptoggles? If you haven't and you got some big jobs that you need to do, I highly recommend you give them a try. They're fantastic. Other than that, if you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to help. And I will also drop a couple of links to some of these that are my favorites in the description below. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.